I've read a number of personal finance books. Some of them are more helpful, some of them are more relatable, and I'm going to share some of those books with you today. I've got a stack of them here, and I'm going to share what those books are. I do think it's important to read at least one personal finance book in your lifetime to help kind of push you a little bit further on that trajectory than you might find by not reading any at all. And so I'm just going to jump right in. These are in no particular order. The first one is Get Good with Money by Tiffany Aliche. This book is great because it covers A to Z what you need to know when it comes to personal finances. So Tiffany talks about like your money mindset and why you spend money, the way that you spend the money. She talks about her debt story and different ways to pay off debt. She talks about investing and even creating your estate plan and planning for your death and transfer of wealth to other people in your family. So this book here, it's really covering the whole gamut when it comes to personal finances. It's a really great book for beginners to really understand all these different topics when it comes to personal finance that you probably should be thinking about. So Get Good with Money is one of those great recommendations that I would say. Next one is The Bogleheads Guide to Investing. You have seen me talk about this book before if you've watched my previous video on The Bogleheads Guide to Investing. I think this is a great beginner's book when it comes to investing. It's the one that was the catalyst for me when it came to understanding a lot of investing terminology and helping me to finally feel comfortable to invest. So I do think The Bogleheads Guide is a great book. It is one that has a lot of different terminology, like I said before. So it can be a little bit heavy. It's not as easy to read as like Get Good with Money. Tiffany uses stories inside of her book that are very relatable and talks about her own story. But this one is just a little bit more heavy and dense, but I thought it was great and worth the read for sure. Next up is Money Out Loud by Berna Anat. Berna Anat is someone who calls herself your personal finance hype woman. And Berna's writing style is interesting in that she interviews these different experts throughout the book in order to answer some of the questions that she has. And it's not just from her perspective, it's also from the expert's perspective as well. And she just talks in a very like I'm your homegirl type of way through this book, Money Out Loud. And the other thing is Berna's family is an immigrant family, so her perspective is very different than the traditional perspective that you get when it comes to personal finance, and she makes that very clear with how she talks and how she is trying to reach people outside of that normal atmosphere of who tends to be in the finance world. So this is another good one. The next two actually are from the same author, The Smart Couples Finish Rich, and then The Automatic Millionaire by David Bach. Now, there are people who really hate on David Bach for his Latte Factor book that he wrote, but honestly, I really enjoyed The Automatic Millionaire because I think it talks about creating a system for your money that just works automatically to where you don't have to think about it, which I think is so important. I think when I created a system where everything was pretty much automated when it came to our finances, it made a world of a difference. And so highly recommend this Automatic Millionaire book. Smart Couples is a good one too. It is really good to help couples to understand how to have discussions with each other when it comes to money. So that one's good for that. What I liked in this Automatic Millionaire book is the time value of money chart. And I know that's going to be really, really small for you to see, but I'm going to read a little bit of what it says in there. So it's showing the time value of money, investing now rather than waiting till you're older. And it gives a couple of examples of Billy investing at the age of 15. If he were to invest $3,000 when he's 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19 and not invest anymore, he will have 1.6 million by the time he turns 65. I'm going to show you this again so you can see it. I don't know if that's coming through very well, but it's this column here showing that. And then it shows Susan investing at age 19, and she invests from 19 to 26, $3,000 each year. And by the time she turns 65, without investing anything else, she'll have 1.5 million. And then Kim investing starting at age 27 and investing all the way to age 65, and that person will have 1.3 million. So it shows how there's such a huge difference in, depending on when you start investing, you're going to be able to earn a lot more money than if you wait until later on in life. Hopefully you can see that. So that one I really liked because of that chart specifically and because of the automaticity that he talks about in the book. And then the last one I've got here is The Simple Path to Wealth, which is by J.L. Collins. This is a book that J.L. Collins says he wrote kind of as a letter to his daughter of how he would teach investing to his daughter. This is a really popular one in the financial independence community as well. It talks about index investing. So if you're into that type of thing, this is great for investing specifically into index funds. All right, so those are the books that are recommended from me that I've read that I think are great. There are some others that I don't have physical copies of because I've read them via audiobooks. And so that would be I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. I think his book is very good when it comes to helping you to live your life now, but also helping you to focus on pay off debt and build good habits and systems as well. I also think We Should All Be Millionaires by Rachel Rogers is a really good one. It really helps to shift your perspective on your worthiness when it comes to money and what you deserve. And then Cashing Out by Julien and Kiersten Saunders. They have something in their book called the 15-year career, which I think is a very interesting concept that they talk about in that book. So there are a lot of great books out there. I do think it's important, like I said, to choose one, read one so you can learn from it. Of course, with any of these books, you take what works and you leave the rest. You don't have to agree with everything an author says. I think the most important thing is finding something that's motivating to you, finding something that resonates with you, and then running with it and doing what you can to just become better. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this video. What are your favorite personal finance books? Leave them in the comments. I would love to know, and maybe check them out if I haven't read them. Hope to see you in the next one.